Life will life if we let it. And before we know it, we have lost sight of our goals. And so, on today's episode of the Aid to Assets podcast, we're going to talk about the importance of knowing where you are trying to go, the goals you are trying to achieve, and understanding the different investing styles in order to reach them. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Aid to Assets podcast, the ultimate podcast for aspiring real estate investors. I'm your host, Tiffany Watson. Join me as we discuss real estate investing for 9 to 5ers. We'll talk about everything from money mindsets and property ownership and different strategies you can use to invest in real estate. I want to empower investors, especially those of us who are working full time, who want to navigate the world of real estate, uncover the secrets to building wealth, generate passive income to achieve financial freedom. Equip yourself with resources from experts, practical tips, and step-by-step guides on how to kickstart your real estate journey. We'll also hear from 9 to 5ers who started to build their own portfolios, what they did and how they did it, so you can do it too. Tune in and transform your main job into your biggest silent investor in your real estate investment business. This is your Aid to Assets. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Aid to Assets podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Watson. Where here we are helping you become a real estate investor. All of my current 9 to 5ers, whether that is working in corporate, whether that is owning your own business or being an entrepreneur, you understand the importance of diversifying your income and buying assets that are going to produce more money for you. So today, we are going to talk about what type of investor are you? I am going to give you 5 different investor personality types, and you are going to decide what makes the most sense for me. This is super important because as you are deciding to invest, it is important to first think about what are my goals? What are the goals that I am trying to accomplish in order to make sure the strategy that I am using is the goal that is going to help me achieve it? So, today, in case you were not aware, there are all sorts of investing, even in the world of real estate investing. All real estate investing is not created equal. And so I'm going to cover 5 different investor personalities so you can figure out what works for you. So, number one, the most common investor type is an income investor. What is an income investor, Tiffany? What are you talking about? We all here for the money. This is true, but in real estate, there are ways for us to get money in different methods. So the income investor is the investor who focuses primarily on generating regular cash flow from their real estate investments. So this means that you are going to purchase a property that is going to have a high rental income, and it is going to have a stable tenant base in order to make sure that that income is as consistent and as secure as possible. So a lot of times when people are thinking about real estate investing, they are wanting to figure out, okay, if I buy this asset, how can I make this asset make me money every single month that I'm able to do whatever I choose to do with? So for example, you might have heard investors talking about, I have some mentors that this is real life goals for me, y'all. I have some mentors who talk about they buy properties to then pay for their wants and desires. So they buy properties to take care of bills that they have. So what does that mean? For example, let's say you want to purchase a new car. Now, I know we are talking about financial literacy, we're talking about saving and budgeting and buying income. That doesn't mean that you aren't able to spend money on the luxuries that you enjoy. The purpose of budgeting, the purpose of being very intentional with our finances is to make sure that we are spending money on the things that matter to us. Have you ever looked up and it was 2 days before payday, and you realize I spent all my money on? Where did it go? That's the purpose of having a budget. A budget is not meant to restrict you, to confine you, so that way you can't spend any money. Instead, I like to think of it as having a wealth plan. This is the plan that I am choosing to both create more wealth, but also to spend the wealth that I have. Because what's the point in working as hard if I'm not going to benefit from any of the fruits of my labor? I want to enjoy life now and be able to create a life that I'm going to be grateful for tomorrow. So, off that soapbox, just know budgets are not restrictions. They are instead a plan. You are giving your money direction. And so, for some people, they'll say, let's say I want to buy a new car. I want a new car and I am going to have a property that is going to pay my car note for me every month. So, this car note is going to be $500, right? $500 car payment. I've heard some videos about some car payments lately. I don't even want to get into it because wow, I had no idea my car is pay off. Lord, I just want to say thank you because no. Anyways, let's say you had a $500 car payment and you wanted a property that was going to cover that $500 car payment for you. So you want your property to cash flow 500 extra dollars. Now, let's not get this confused. This means that the rent that you are charging is going to cover the PITI, the principal, insurance, taxes, and interest of your property. So PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You want it to cover that, and you still want to have an additional net profit of $500. Now, there are some investors who they even take it a step further and they have other expenses that they are saving for, all those things. Let's just say, for the sake of this example, however you choose as an investor that you want to net after you have all of your expenses and everything accounted for, you still want to have an additional $500 to pay for your car. So that means you need to purchase properties that the rents are going to afford you that. The mortgage and everything else is taken care of, and this extra money that you're putting towards your car payment. That is an income investor. That is an investor that is looking for money that they are able to spend on the things that they want based on a property. And it's totally doable. You are able to find properties where you can pay all of the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance and have money profit left over, so that way you can spend that on that car payment, drive that luxury car, and your investments are paying for your desires. How amazing is that, right? Cool. Okay, so speaking of that, now we talked about how you have this house and the principal interest, taxes, and insurance is already taken care of, plus you have a net profit for income. Now that principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that principal means that the amount of money that you owe towards the mortgage for the bank or hard money lender, whoever you borrow money for in order to purchase this property, the principal is being paid down. Now, the cool thing about being a real estate investor is you're not paying the principal. So you are buying an asset that somebody else technically is paying for. However, you are being rewarded because you are responsible for this asset. So if they decide not to pay, you are on the hook for it. You are also making sure that it is well taken care of. And so either you make sure you go in and you do regular inspections, you do the upkeep, you do the maintenance, or your job again is to make sure that it is done. And so again, however you decide to run your business, because you are the owner of this asset, and someone else is paying the principal or actually paying for the asset, you're just in control of it. You are the second type of investor, and that is going to be the appreciation investor, because as long as you are holding this property, the property is going to increase in value and what you owe is going to decrease, and it is being decreased by someone else. So an appreciation investor is an investor who focuses on properties that are likely to increase in value over time. Now, one of the things that you know here that we say, we don't wait to buy real estate, we buy real estate and wait, right? So there's no sense in trying to time the market, because you're not going to be able to time the market. If you are in a position to invest your money, hold it, it will reap the benefits of it. And so an appreciation investor oftentimes is going to look for properties in up and coming neighborhoods or areas with high growth potential. They may also invest in properties in areas where there's limited supply and high demand. So there's two sides to this coin here. One is the up and coming neighborhoods or areas with high growth potential. So when we talk about gentrification, this is one of those things. If you are in an area where there is starting to be a lot of revitalization, there's starting to be a lot of rehabs, there's starting to be more stores being built there, this area is growing, it's becoming more popular, that's an up and coming neighborhood. And so being able to invest there before the prices shoot up high is a game changer because you're able to get in early, get in low before the cost of real estate goes up. So, to give you a personal example, last week we talked about my property in Dubai. And I shared with you that that property has already gone up in appreciation. The value of my condo has increased because I bought it so early. I bought it before they even started making the action, before they even started building, before construction, before ground had broke. I invested in it. So because I was willing to wait a longer amount of time to have my property, I got it for a cheaper price. So similar, if you're in an area where it's not popping yet, but it's coming. One of my friends in my investor circles, we talk a lot about if you see like a Chick-fil-A or a Starbucks in an area where they didn't used to want to have a Chick-fil-A or a Starbucks, things are happening. This is an up and coming area. And those companies have entire teams, entire departments that do market research analysis in order to determine where they're going to put new locations. You don't have the money to do that. You don't need to spend the money to do that. Use theirs. Look at the signs in your neighborhood, see the signs for that. So the other side of that though, is areas where there's limited supply and high demand. So once again, I am in Fort Liberty, North Carolina, Fort Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so we laugh now because recently the base has changed its name to Fort Liberty. It has been Fort Bragg since I was born and raised here. It will forever be Fort Bragg in my heart. However, not being resistant to change. So here we have limited inventory because regardless, we have a lot of soldiers that are going to be coming into our city every year when they get orders to come here. They have to have somewhere to live because they don't have a choice but to come. However, if there's not enough houses for them, that means that there is more demand than there is supply, which is exactly what we're experiencing right now. So as I'm talking to potential sellers, I am letting them know this is a great time to either one, sell your house and then someone else can buy it from you, or to rent it out, because oftentimes people get frustrated if they can't find the house that they want to buy. So they're going to still have to move here. What else option do they have? They have to rent. And so you're able to then rent to them because there isn't enough housing available. And so as that is happening, you are getting appreciation because the value of your house is continuing to increase. Cool? Make sense? All right, amazing. So the next type of investor is very similar to the appreciation investor, except they have a very specific goal. The value investor is the one that is focused on finding properties that are undervalued or have the potential to increase in value over time. What does that mean? So the value-driven investor, they are the investor that is going to look for properties that may need some renovations or some upgrades. And so because of the work that needed to be done, these properties are able to be purchased at a discount. Once the property is fixed up, they can then either sell it for a profit or continue to hold it for rental income. So this is very similar to the appreciation investor, except the appreciation investor, oftentimes those homes are move-in or what's called turnkey ready. If I was going to sell this house on the market, someone would be able to come in and move in right away. There's not a lot of work that needs to be done and I can get top dollar for it. Or I'm renting this property out, someone again can still move in and I'm going to be able to put a good amount of rent for the market because people are going to be willing to pay based on how well it's done. Hey y'all, Tiffany here. Are you looking to purchase or sell real estate? As you know, I'm your aid to assets and I want to help you with all of your real estate endeavors. Whether you're local here like me in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area, I can then help you purchase or sell your next property. If you're looking to purchase or sell outside of North Carolina, let me know too. I can still help you. I have a team of agents all over the country that I can connect you with to partner on your next deal. Let's get to the closing table, y'all. We buy our way to wealth, whether that's buying right or selling better. Can't wait to hear from you. Click on the link in the bio if you want more information on how to personally work with me or an agent on my team. Talk to you soon. Now, Your traditional fix and flippers, though, they are value investors. They are looking for distressed properties, properties that have not been taken care of, that have not been repaired in several years. There may be some issues. They haven't been rehabbed. They may be outdated. And this can look a variety of ways. There are some where it's more cosmetic rehabs that need to be done. That still costs time and money in order to make things up to date, whether that's updating cabinets, updating floorings, painting, that sort of thing. That's a lot of work, right? For someone who doesn't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it don't matter if it's moving a pencil. If you don't want to do it, that's still work that you don't want to do. But then it can also go all the way to yesterday, I was looking at a house for a client and it had fire damage. A fire had completely destroyed this home and it was literally gutted down to the sticks of the house, like just the foundation. And so an entirely brand new house has to be built. That's an example on both ends of the spectrum for houses that needs to have repairs and upgrades, and then they can either be put back on the market to sell, or they can be held and you can rent them out to people who, again, don't want to be landlords. So these are people that are willing to take on projects. Now, because of they're willing to take on projects, that also means that they're getting these properties at a discount. I can't ask for top dollars for a property that has fire damage, that needs walls put in, that needs a new roof, that needs the HC reset. That's just not how that works. And so properties that have a lot of potential, but they also require a lot of time, energy, and effort, you're going to be able to get those at a discount because you're willing to put the work in. And so this is the opposite of a turnkey or move-in ready home, where literally all you got to do is just bring your things and make your house a new home. So we've had first the income investor, which is the investor that is looking for cash flow. That is their ultimate goal. The appreciation investor, which is the investor who is more focused on long-term holding a property and letting the value of that property increase. They may experience some cash flow. However, it's not going to be significant enough to, like, thousands of dollars a month. However, over a year, the value of your home can definitely appreciate significantly. And then lastly, number three, the value investor is the investor that is more similar related to your fix and flipper, where they are finding properties that are distressed, properties that need a lot of work to be put into them in order to make them a new home for someone, and they're going to be willing to do that. Number four is a commercial investor. The commercial investor focuses on investing in commercial properties like office buildings, retail centers, industry properties. Now, everything that you see, real estate is still real estate. It's just commercial. So the malls, the restaurants, the stores, any building that you go into with real estate, somebody owns that building. Event spaces, movie theaters, all the things, all of that is real estate. And so somebody owns all of that. And so if you are interested in being a commercial investor, those properties typically have longer leases and higher rental rates than residential properties, which does mean that they can result in higher cash flow in return. However, there is more risk associated with it because you're taking on a bigger project. So, for example, if you were to rent out a space and you had office space and you were letting business owners rent out the office, if you rented out all of them, you're likely going to be getting more than what you would be getting for a residential place. They're also just a different setup for someone that's going to be living in your home versus someone that's going to be working in your home. So that's definitely an option as well. And there's also the opportunity to invest in REITs, which are similar to stocks, but are all focused based on real estate. And this is more for commercial real estate properties. You're able to invest in those as well. And finally, number five, the private lender. So the private lender is a lender who provides financing to other real estate investors. Here on the show, we've talked about hard money lending and other non-traditional forms of lending. Private lending is exactly that. And so these lenders typically lend money to investors who are flipping properties, purchasing properties for rental income. And private lenders can earn a high return on their investment. However, there is a higher risk involved because you are basically serving as the bank. So if you know someone who does investing and you have some money, instead of, once again, saving money in the bank, that is not doing anything for us, and in fact is actually costing us money, you can invest your money in other projects. So for example, I am a private money lender. I have lended money for investors that I know that are working on projects. So projects that myself I cannot physically partake in. I'm not there flipping it because these projects are out of state. I have been a capital investor though and lended the money so that way they were able to complete the project. And then once the project is over, I receive my money plus some additional returns because I lended the money to them. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, that you're doing all of your paperwork if you are going to do private money lending. But this is a way to invest in real estate, into projects, even into people, even though you are not the ones actually doing the rehabs or the projects. You may not be managing the house, anything like that, but you can see a return on your money. So we've had a couple episodes for sure where we've had people talk about private money and how you can do that as well. It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes when investors are working on projects, they have to be able to have funds to cover certain things, whether they're getting a bridge loan and they just need some funds to cover that, or supplies, any down payment. There are a lot of opportunity for you to get involved, but you have to tell people what your goals are. That is what is super, super important. And so knowing what it is that you are trying to accomplish. If I know, okay, I have this amount of money in the bank, but I want this money to be making me more money instead of sitting here making this 0.02% in the bank, let me invest this for 3 months. Let me invest this for 6 months. Let me invest this for a year, whatever the case may be. And then I can see returns. I've seen returns 8, 15%, just kind of depending on how much money is costing and what the interest rates are right now. And so this is a fantastic opportunity to be able to get into the game without actually having to invest a lot of the time and energy and effort if that's not something that you're in a position to do right now, which is absolutely amazing. So, 5 different types of investors. Like I said, you want to make sure you are very clear on what your goals are. Start where you are. Do you just want to dabble your toe in? You want to see what this real estate thing is all about? Are you someone that is looking for income? And you are wanting to have that reoccurring income coming into you every month so that way you can have that to spend on other things, to save up to then buy another investment? Are you someone that's playing the long term game? Right. And you understand the importance of owning assets and controlling these properties. And so you want to build your portfolio. And in the long term, you decide, how you want to do what you want to do with these properties, whether that's you want to keep them, you want to pass them down to future generations. We talk a lot about generational wealth and what that means. One of the biggest revelations that came to me as I have been in this financial literacy journey and being in real estate is realizing I cannot pass down a job to anyone. If I stop working, the money stops coming in. And so real estate provides an opportunity for me to be able to put myself in a position that I can decide if I don't want to work, there's still income coming in. Whether that looks like monthly reoccurring cash flow, whether that looks like I have a property that I can sell and I can live off the net profit, whatever that looks like for me, that's for me to choose. And the biggest thing about investing in anything, but specifically while we're here talking about why we should invest in real estate, we are creating options for ourselves. We are giving ourselves the opportunity and the ability to choose. How do I want to spend my time? How do I want to invest my energy? What do I want to use my intelligence on? And so for some people, that looks very different, especially depending on the stage of life that they're in. Retirement age is going to come, Lord willing, for all of us. I don't know a single person who actually wants to have to work until they're 95 years old. That's not a thing. No, now if you still work, if you still doing your thing, it's because you want to do it. You love what you do. I was reading something the other day. Warren Buffett is as old as he is and he wants to work. That's what he does not have to make another dollar ever, 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 ever again in life. And him and his family and his children's children and his children's children's children will be fine. That's a choice, but it has to happen intentionally. You don't just randomly wake up and say, oh, I don't ever have to work again ever because today's a new day and it's just amazing and it happened. That's not how that works. We have to intentionally put ourselves in position to win and define what winning is to us, right? So whether that's you want to retire yourself, you want to retire your spouse, you want to have the savings for your kids to go to college, you want to be able to retire your family, whatever it is that you want to do, I encourage you to really sit down and look and decide, what is success to me? What do I want? We live in a society where we go nonstop, and we often don't have the opportunity to sit down and really think about what matters to me. What do I value? How do I want to spend my time? Instead, we're often very much in reaction mode. This is life. We were born, we go to school because that's what they told us to do. We get a job because that's what we have to do. We have to pay all these bills. How often do we take the time to think back and say, okay, wait, I know I have to work at this stage in my life. What's the type of work that I want to do? How much work do I have to do to pay for the life that I want to live? Do you know how much it costs to be you? Seriously, have you ever sat down and thought about how much does it cost to be me? Now, this can be a variety of, you can take this a variety of different ways. If we're talking bare bones, just the minimum, if I had to start at just the necessities, what does that look like? That can be your first goal. Not all the extra stuff. We all, you well, not we all, but me. Let's talk about me. I love a trip. I'm going to catch a flight. I'm going out of town. I'm going to hit the road. I love a road trip. I like to sit in the car with my music loud and just get away. However, is that a requirement? For me, yes. So that's a part of my budget. But for someone else, that may not be it. So I really want you to take some time to think about, what are your goals? How much does it cost to be me? So then you can start to have very specific and very tangible goals that you are working towards. And so, for example, your first goal could be, I want to have a cash flow of X amount of dollars to cover these bills, because this is the minimum, where if this is taken care of, I'm fine. We can figure out the rest. We can cut down on the rest, whatever that may be. That can be a goal. So let's say, for example, it costs you $4,000 a month to be you, just random number out of nowhere. Out of that $4,000, that could be, if you were going to position yourself as a cash flow investor, if that was the goal for what you wanted to do, then you will set out, what are the best methods, what are the best properties for me to reach the cash flow goal that I am wanting to achieve. You'd be surprised, and it'd be a lot easier once you actually know the direction that you're going in. Same thing, if I was an appreciation investor and I decided I wanted to have $1 million net worth, I just wanted to have a net worth of $1 million, and a very easy way to be able to do that is to acquire properties. So I can say, okay, well, if I have a net worth, if I want to have a net worth of $1 million, what is my current net worth? What is the gap? And then, what are the property values? How many properties do I need to get there? And then I can decide. Let's say my net worth right now is $100,000 and I want to have $1 million net worth. So I got $900,000 to go. Well, I could do a couple things. I could purchase a $900,000 house, or I could purchase, a $300,000 house, a $400,000 house, and then another $300,000 house. Like, you can break it up depending on what it is that you are trying to do. And so that's the beauty of really slowing down and focusing on our goals and what are we trying to achieve. And then we can see what strategies actually make the most sense, that are going to move the needle to get me closer to where I want to be. So I hope that this was helpful as you were starting to think about your real estate portfolio and all of the things that you want to do. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment and let me know, what type of real estate investor are you? Are you appreciation? Are you cash flow? Are you doing some private money lending? If you are, I have some clients that I know are always looking for new lenders to invest in their projects. So, whatever that may be, I want to hear about it. Thank you so much for this question. Please, if there are other questions that I can answer, definitely leave a comment or send me a message on all the social medias, Aid to Assets. Y'all, this has been another amazing episode of the Aid to Assets podcast. Are you liking this? I love getting your questions and feedback. And so, any way that I can best serve you, I am happy to. Can't wait to see you at the closing table. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another insightful episode of Aid to Assets. Remember, your journey from 9 to 5er to successful real estate investor is within reach. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing in your future. If you'd like to know more, connect with me on Instagram at Aid to Assets. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, happy investing.